Welcome to the Divorced Playbook podcast. I'm Dan Levy.
I'm Scott Levy. Nice work on that divorce playbook.
Thank you. I'm getting better at it. Yes. For those who maybe missed our last episode, just to quickly recap, Scott. So you and I are both divorced dads. The show, the site, everything was Divorced Dad Playbook. But since then, as we've grown our audience and realized that women, we didn't think we were excluding women. We thought we were incorporating men. There's so many sites out there for women. We were going to try and build one for men. And then we realized maybe there aren't that many sites for women, or at least they want another one. And so a lot of our listeners, a lot of our people who comment to us are women. So we thought, you know what, let's just make it easier so they don't have to keep asking us like, is it for women? Yes, it's been for women the whole time, but we were the divorced dads, got a little, so you figured out a way to make it easier.
Yes, we have. And again, we never wanted to disclude women. And we realized that actually everything we were talking about for the most part was very similar.
Hold on. Stop. The word is exclude. Disclude is not a word. Disclude is like when you're playing a board game and then like Colonel Mustard didn't do it and then you get kicked out, you got disclude.
I'm an imperfect human when it comes to the English language.
A little bit of we talked about this in the last episode. We're going to say it again. There's a big event at the end of this week. And if you're not participating in it, which, you know, I've ventured to guess most of our audience is not because it's my birthday. So, no, I meant Valentine's Day. I forgot. That's after that,
at the end of this week. That's like tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it could be today. I don't know. Whenever people are listening, but yeah. And I said this last episode. I'm gonna say it again. If you go to divorcedplaybook.com/dating, and for people on YouTube, it'll be on the site right now. On your screen, we have a really, I think personally helpful ebook and video series that we've put together with a lot of help from a lot of people about how to make your profile better. And the reason we tried to coincide it with this week, Scott, is because sometimes when you're home alone on Valentine's Day, you said this the other day, when you're home alone on Valentine's Day, it sucks. And maybe it's not you. Maybe you're just not reaching the same people. So before we get into that, because I want to get your thoughts on this is now going to be your like 7th, 8th Valentine's Day, not being married. I'm not saying you weren't with someone for some of those. But if you look over this shoulder, again, for the YouTubers, I don't know if you can see it. Can you see that? It's very far away.
Turner, Private Dancer.
Right. Tina Turner, Private Dancer. That's one of the vinyl I got when I was. Yeah, no, well, here we go. It's not Private Dancer. This is a live. This is from last year. So keep that in mind when you hear her voice.
This is live from last year, you said?
Yeah. She's still got the legs, too. She's like 75 years old.
Yeah, bless her. It's a long lead in, though.
This might go on. It might go on a little longer than I wanted it to. Here you go. I mean, she's like this. She's old. She's an old woman.
Yeah.
The reason that I'm playing this song is because the kids and I watch The Masked Singer.
This is not Private Dancer. What is this?
No, I'm going to talk through it until we get to that because that's usually what I do. So I can,
Gotcha.
We thought that she was on The Masked Singer.
Barely hear you.
I'll turn it down for the other people. Here we go. Ready?
Oh yeah.
There you go. What's love got to do? All right. That's
gotcha.
The theme for the day. What's love got to do with it?
What's love got to do with Valentine's Day and being alone?
What's love got to do with Valentine's Day? What's love got to do with being alone? I think a lot of us out there, certainly not just speaking for myself on this, because I've talked to a lot of people. That's a tricky word. Like love is a 4-letter word.
Yeah.
Both practically speaking and because it's like makes you that mad. Like you do stupid things surrounding love.
Blinded by love, right? Love blinds you or whatever. Isn't that a saying?
I don't know. We're gonna go with what's love got to do with it because I don't.
Right, what's love got to do with it? But I think that is right. It's a saying. You're blinded by love. Yeah, it makes you do.
Well, I don't think
things.
so. I mean, yes, you do stupid things when you're in love with someone. You make stupid decisions, but you also, I think, take people for granted, and I'm certainly in that category. I think that love, when it becomes comfortability, comfortability, you end up taking your life for granted, you take other people for granted. And so now that I'm a year out from last year, this is not a year of firsts for me, at least from this point forward. Last year, I did have Valentine's Day alone. This year, I have the kids, and I'm actually going to keep them overnight that night, which I wasn't. It's not supposed to, but I have them on President's Day, and I thought to myself, and this is like, I thought to myself, like, why don't I keep the kids so my ex can go out with her boyfriend on Valentine's Day? What? Who the hell am I? I'm that guy now?
I don't know who that guy is. If you're that guy, then you're getting closer to being this guy. That's what you do.
That's scarier than the thought I just had.
No, it's not.
It freaks me out. Honestly, I'm going to be completely straight. This is going to be one of those, like, a lot of shit's going on in my head episodes. I'm going to get it. It's going to be, I'm not going to throw up on the microphone. Yeah.
Yikes.
But it's one of those things. And I know I'm going to say something that's going to get me in some kind of trouble with somebody. So I apologize in advance. Does that help?
I don't know what you're about to say, nor do I know if that's going to help. But I mean, I think you're just talking about yourself, really. So you're not talking about anybody else.
I'm not. So this is a conversation I've had with a lot of people. The whole idea of a long-term relationship, and we've had this discussion on the show, Scott, about when people go out seeking a long-term relationship. Is it good that they're putting it out there what they want, or is it bad that they're walling off a large group of people who aren't ready for it? And I remember that you and Nicole Ananda and I, we talked about it on the last episode she was on, which I believe was like 5 or 6 episodes ago. For people who haven't gone, that was a 2-part episode. I think it was episode 26, I want to say. So go back, part 1 and part 2. It's very interesting. Listen. But the one thing that we talked about afterwards as well is, like, you guys are very quick to be like, if the person's not going to take the time to write anything more than, hey, how are they going to take the time to be a partner for me? And you're instantly, I'm not saying you don't maybe put them on notice, so to speak. Let's see if this person steps it up once we start discussing it. But you're both like, screw them. And I'm like, that's very, you're both complaining that you've been doing this for a while. Maybe open up your talent pool a little bit. Maybe give people the benefit of the doubt that it's an awkward hello online.
Nope. No. I
It's
disagree.
weird to me, Scott, that I'm the one who's like, no, guys, chill out, relax. It'll work out.
I don't think we're not relaxed. I think we just know what we want. And your pool is wide and ours is a little more narrow, because from experience, we realize that people who just say hi or hello.
Pools are more of a depth thing. I would have gone deep and shallow there, because the pool, like, no one wants to jump in a wide pool.
If you're gonna encyclopedia or dictionary me or whatever it is, your thesaurus me or whatever you're doing, this is going to be a really difficult show for me.
Are you going to disclude me from the rest of the show?
Fuck, bro.
Oh, while we're doing this, can we, before we go back to this actual conversation? So the conversation to set the table for the show is, everyone now calls me, and first I was reluctant to, but now I'll admit it, whatever. It's a serial dater versus the long-term seeker. That's sort of
Captain Crunch
is, as one does.
Serial dater.
I got the reference. I mean, I got it. Yeah. But I want to play something from the previous episode, if you don't mind. We've been cutting up clips for people who follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We're going to do more of this because it's fun, and we have some really funny little back and forths, and we cut up some clips. So I was wondering, Scott, can I play a clip from the last episode?
This is the muffin thing.
No, the muffin thing we posted yesterday, where you said you wish you had muffins. This one is a great one. This one is a great. You ready?
It doesn't really matter what age guys are. And I personally don't really care so much about the age of a woman, because I think from a physicality standpoint, there are women who are 50 that look way better than there are women who are in their late 30s. So I don't
asked
think
me
it
the other
really
day,
matters.
why are you matching with people who are 49 and 50? I'm like, have you seen them?
Right. Well, but I think, though, mentally for women, I think it does get to them, and they're kind of like, what kind of guy is going to want a 50-year-old woman? And I'm like, this guy.
All right, that is a great line, Scott. This guy. So people might see this on our Instagram. What kind of guy would want a 50-year-old woman? Oh no, I hit the wrong one. Hold on. It was really good and I screwed it up. Oh God, this is the worst thing ever.
Isn't that the worst thing ever?
Now I'm like panicking. I had it all set up and I hit the wrong.
I mean, my hair looks pretty good in that last episode.
It looks terrible. Your hair looks terrible in every episode.
It's got a lot of hair. What are you talking about? It's just like a little bit long.
It's
Who
a
cares?
lot. It's a lot long. Oh man, we're gonna just keep
All right.
vamping. Like, just do something, because I gotta
Well, I'm
fix
talking
this.
about hair because actually that's a big thing that people talk about, that they're impressed that I have as much hair as I do, and I'm proud that it's long. It's cool. I'll keep growing it out if I want to. At least I can. It's growing.
All right, I found it. Sorry about that. My apologies. Back
Okay.
to right here.
Reboot.
Yeah, we're gonna. Well, I'm just gonna let it go. Here you go. There you go.
What kind
Of guy is going to want a 50-year-old woman? This guy. And it took a while to get there. It was funnier the other way.
Oh, that's Jim
From The Office. Yeah, it's the most famous this guy of all time, and so that's going to be the little graphic for people who see it on social media. This guy.
Yikes! You're putting out on social media that this guy wants a 50-year-old woman. I didn't say. I mean,
by the way, hold on. We just played the quote. Do you need me to go back and screw up the whole thing again, or do you? You said on the show, we just heard it.
Unscripted.
I was editing the show and cutting up clips, and I get to that clip, and I think to myself, I cannot believe I am disappointed in myself that I didn't stop. Now that you continue on a little bit more after that, like it stops, but you keep talking. I am amazed that I didn't in real time stop you to remark that you have just put out the bat signal in the sky for every woman 50 years old and older. You are going to be inundated. You're going to be like elbows deep in septuagenarians. Is that too old? Maybe that's old.
I have no idea what that means, but I'm street smart, dude. You know that. I'm street smart. You're book smart.
I am getting you action by clipping this. Are you kidding me? I don't need. By the way,
I don't need your help getting action. First of all, but second of all,
I'm not saying you need my help. I'm just saying I'm narrowing the field down for you. What kind of guy is going to want a 50-year-old woman? That guy. And now everybody knows.
Okay, so yeah. I'm not saying I'm not saying I'm not interested in people in their 40s. I'm just saying that there are people in their 50s who take care of themselves, that have a lot going on for them, and
people heard the clip, man. I mean, you don't have to you don't have to explain the clip, though. You did a very nice job explaining it.
Thank you. I'm very happy with my narrow lane, not narrow pool. Is that what you said?
That works.
My more narrow.
Well, I didn't mention anything about being narrow or not. I just said if you're going to go with the pool reference, it should be a depth thing and not a width thing.
I like to go deeper than wider.
Oh my god! I can't believe this just happened. Oh my god!
I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening this morning.
I usually don't lose composure, but I'm done. Right. I'm done. That's the end of the show. Go ahead. Kids first us, because I got nothing else after that.
No.
Okay, let's get back. Let's get back to the original topic. That was incredible. Let's get back to the original topic. The whole idea of the whole serial dater versus long-term relationship. What's love got to do with it? And I think if you look at it that way, the long-term relationship side of this, and it's obviously, if we're playing counterpoint, you are this point, that's the search for love. No one wants to be in a long-term relationship that's not based in love. I mean, you could have friendships that are long, and I actually have developed some, and I do not want those people to leave my life ever, frankly. So you can have a long-term relationship with a friend, and you can find that person on a dating site. So I'm not saying like that's where I am, where it's like keep your options open, because you never know what's going to come into your life and where that person may fit. But for most people, I'm guessing, Scott, that the long-term relationship is essentially like sort of like an abbreviation for love. You're looking for love. Am I right on that?
Yeah. I don't know exactly what love means to everyone else. I don't even know what it means to me sometimes, but I think in the general sense, yeah, long-term relationship is love and a partner for, as I say, this is sort of like one of my, again, I don't want to get you down a sports thing too much, but I do say, I think this is pretty accurate, that I'm on the back nine, and the front nine
of life.
Yeah, I'm on the back nine. Of course, I'm midway through, right? I mean, think about it. I'm at least midway through, so I'm on the back nine, and I think
Yeah,
about
no,
it.
sure.
I'm on the front nine. I hit a couple in the rough. I hit one in the water. I had to hit it out of the sand. I was whiffing, and the rough nine was. I mean, the front nine was a little rough.
I once hit a bird right in the stomach, and I thought the bird was going to explode, like from like 20 feet away. Like I couldn't get it over the birds, and it just went. Poof, and I thought I killed the bird. Anyway, keep going.
It has nothing to do with what I was talking about, but
I felt it was pertinent.
that's why I said I'm not trying to make it about golf because I don't even really play golf that often. I don't have enough time, but I'm just saying that front nine, you learn a lot of lessons. Back nine, you take your time a little bit more. You know what you want. You know what you're doing. You're not as in as much of a rush.
You
You're,
get you
kind of
read the
things.
greens better because you've been there longer. You get a sense of the
Yeah, yeah,
the. Yeah, I get you. That's a good
yeah.
analogy.
So I think it's a good analogy. And I'm on the back nine, and in the back nine, I want a playing partner.
I feel like I'm still on the driving range.
And that's a great analogy for us to keep it and then move on from golf. Yes.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm sure people understand that. I think the serial dater part of it, and again, I struggle with that because from what everyone tells me, the concept of a serial dater is one who just likes going on dates, that has no interest in a long-term relationship, that's just trying to hook up.
It's not exactly the definition.
So okay, so then tell me, because that's the connotation I have, which is why I've always felt reluctant to agree with it, because that's not how I feel. Philosophically speaking, that's not my intent. I never go into a situation hoping that it only lasts one date or two dates. Never. Well, I shouldn't say never. Most of the time.
Well, no, that's wrong. That's false. You actually do. If you didn't have that in the back of your mind,
Yeah.
then you wouldn't be engaging with so many different women and having different options and going out on so many different dates. Like you can't possibly get to third and fourth date if you've got no time to go on the third or fourth date because you've got a new date set up for the next day or the next day or the next day.
No. All right, that's fine. And this is where we get you don't understand how my brain works, and I just say ADHD, and then we laugh. But like, I'm gonna throw it back to you for what you're doing with your oldest, like with colleges. You don't wait until one college gets back to you and says they have room for you. You apply to as many colleges as you damn well can, and sometimes
to
it's
get
costly.
to get to a long-term relationship.
Right. But
Right.
Scott,
But you're not heading into a long-term relationship.
No. Hold on. I'm not saying I'm not. What I'm getting at is if that other person is not interested in the long-term relationship, I just threw everyone else on hold. I tried this. I tried to be like you like 3 weeks ago or a month ago. I went out with somebody. Before I went out, I was like, this could be a not the one situation. I'm not really like that, but this could be a longer term thing.
A contender.
And I'm very happy to just like get off the apps for a little bit, take a deep breath, and focus on one person. And within like a day, I got my ass handed to me. And so, but you know what happened? No, wait. You know what happened? The aftermath of that was I told two different women, hey, I can't hang out with you because I'm really trying to focus on this one person right now. One unmatched me, and the other one had such a chip on her shoulder that when I ended up going back, she like never wanted to hang out with me, which I don't blame her for, because I literally told her, you're not as good as this other person.
But why would you say that?
Because we had plans and I had to cancel them.
But again, until you get into some sort of rhythm
Scott,
with these people, and so you keep interrupting me.
Do this. Go ahead.
Until you get into some sort of rhythm with somebody, you don't need to tell them everything. You pride yourself on being like so honest. You're not being dishonest. You're just not telling everyone everything that's going through your head. Like that's okay to do that. You don't need to tell the two people that were. You don't need to tell the two people that were maybe the B category, not the A category, that they're in the B category. Who wants to know? Who wants to hear that? Of course, they're going to unmatch with you. Or
I thought at the time. I thought at the time, because it's happened to me and I appreciated it, that it was the right thing to do when somebody said, hey, can you hang out tonight or tomorrow or whenever? And I said, well, no, I have plans. And they said, oh, well, when can you? I made the decision in the moment not to string them along and say, well, actually, I met somebody that I'm trying to hang out with a lot. And so like, I'm focusing on them. But to me, that made sense.
No, but that's the point. You don't know, like that didn't work out. So now you're like down on that theory because you played that the wrong way. And I'm not saying to be dishonest at all. I'm not. Okay. All I'm saying is that you don't know if the one that you think in your mind is the one that you want to focus on is actually the right one to go for. So if you have 3 people that you like, you can't compare your vision in your mind of one woman versus another woman until you actually engage with them. And then you never know, you're going to get something else. Like, that's the connectivity of it all. So it's all fair game. I just think the difference is you potentially are doing it with 30 people or 20 or 30, whatever it is, and
Whatever.
you got to figure out how to juggle that. And I think, when I
How
look
can
at things, I'm more serious. So I'm as respectful as I can be. I know sometimes I end up ghosting people or not getting back to them. Wasn't meant to be, and that's just the way that it works. This is part of the gamification of it.
yeah
But I am open and honest about this, and I just think that you're going at it at a different way, and I don't think that it's working for you right now.
I'm gonna blow your mind in 1 minute because I want to bring up something that you just said, and I want to try and spin it against you a little bit. But before, I just want to address the whole thing about no. We, we're taping this on Wednesday. Remember, last Wednesday I mentioned the whole 30 for 30 thing, blah blah blah. Last Wednesday I thought the whole thing was falling apart. The whole thing crumbled. Well, I went out with the one who friend zoned me, and I texted her last night, and I'm like, "Do you really want to be friends with me, or are you just like letting me down easy? Like, do you really want to be my friend?" And she wrote back and she's like, and this is giving away a little more information, but she's like, "Our birthdays are the same day. Yeah, I definitely want to be friends." I'm like, if that's the threshold for friendship, like Thomas Alva Edison and I are just besties. Like, what do you mean we have the same birthday? Whatever.
I think
And
people, I think people find different things in connectivity with one another, and
so
I'm not
I
judging
thought
how she's thinking. So
no, it's fine. And I appreciate that. If she's genuine about it, that's cool. I mean, she's really nice. So I'll talk to her still. But the other two in that triumvirate is one I thought was just gone. And I went in with the attitude of like, you know what, this isn't going to happen. And then it came back on me that she seemed actually more interested after that, which is like a weird mind game I don't like playing. I want my intentions known. I like you. I want to hang out with you. I don't like having to play coy and like pretend like I'm not interested to get them more interested in me. I don't like that. I understand it has to happen sometimes. And that person's got to find out on their own whether or not they like you, and you kind of have to put pressure on them. But I don't like it. And then the third one, and again, this will be another cliffhanger. I was supposed to hang out with tonight, and we set up. It took a while, but we set it up, and she said to me specifically, "I can hang out during the week. We don't have to just wait for the weekends. I can get a babysitter." I was like, "Oh, sweet. Can you hang out Wednesday?" She's like, "Absolutely." She's like, "I'll have to lock down the sitter, but yeah, that should be no problem at all." I was like, "You can't cancel on me because it's the day before my birthday, and I have my kids on my birthday. So really, like, this is the date before like, you can't cancel on me." Joking around because she had already said yes. I think she canceled on me. She can't get a sitter, and so I think she's canceling on me.
I mean,
what the fuck?
I mean, I've seen this on people's profiles, and I agree with this. And I also think, look, I think life throws you some curveballs sometimes. There's snowstorms.
I
We've
don't
talked
blame
about
her if
it.
she can't find a sitter,
There's
but like
things
also
going
there
on.
might be somebody else in your life you could find at and watch your kid for 2 hours to go out with somebody who really wants to go out
I
with you.
think
I'm
if
just
you
saying.
make if you actually make a plan and it's the day of, and then you say you can't find a sitter, I think that's probably not somebody you should be going out with.
She told me yesterday, to be fair. She said,
okay, I think the day before, I think
she said she's texted her babysitter 5 times and hasn't gotten a response. I trust that. She seems
I
incredibly
think she
trustworthy.
should find another babysitter because that's actually
That's
super irresponsible. But I
right,
also
right.
think I also think that I don't think anyone has only one option when it comes to if you have littler kids. I didn't only have one option when I had littler
Well,
kids.
COVID is different though, dude. You don't want certain people in your house. If you don't want, but it's the truth.
I don't know. Look, I don't know what to tell you. Then you know what? Then she should be spending the evening with you and say, I'm sorry, and guys can have FaceTime drinks or whatever. And
yeah, and that's where I am with this. I'm waiting to hear. I just wrote a text okay for like 2 hours because I was like, what do I do now? And then I wrote back and said, well, I don't have to cancel the reservation until 30 minutes before. I actually live farther than 30 minutes from the restaurant, so obviously, like, I'd have to cancel before I get in the car. I don't have any other plans. I don't plan on making any other plans because this is the woman I want to hang out with. And so I said, like, just let me know if anything changes, let me know. And I'm just sitting here hoping something changes. If it doesn't, I don't know how to handle that. I don't know what to do. Because this is a person, when you tell me like on the list, this is one of those people I put up on the pedestal type. And so far to this point, she has exceeded expectations in all ways. But now it's like, we can't get a freaking sitter. Maybe I'm overestimating how much you like me.
Well, you might be. I mean, and it might be legit. Like, it's hard to say. I don't know who this person is, and I don't know her situation, and I know how I have been. Certainly with my kids, that I, oftentimes, not because I don't like the person that I want to go out with, it's that I just choose my kids. Because there's things going on with them. Jack gets injured or whatever it is. Like, I'll choose my kids when they're, in need or in pain over anybody else. At this point, until they're gone, obviously. So it's hard for me to judge.
Gone from
but
the house,
I would say
gone
from
the house.
Yeah, of course, gone from the house, gone
Just
away
making
to
sure
school.
people...
Yeah. So it's hard for me to necessarily judge. I would say that it's a red flag. People have red flags. That's totally fine. And once you have too many red flags, then you need to, rule them out, move on. I would say it's a little bit of red flag that, that she knows it's the day before your birthday, and you've expressed.
And that's too much pressure to put on her. I was joking around when I said it, but at the same time, it's kind of
talking to you.
Well, I'm trying to defend this person because they don't, you know what I mean? I'm just laying out the information.
Again, I'm not knocking her. I'm just saying that if this doesn't happen tonight because she couldn't get a sitter, like, then I would hope that the plan would be, if you really like her and if she really likes you, that you would then make up a plan for this weekend, or you can't do this weekend because you have the kids, but right. Like early next week, like Monday.
Right. And this is, again, as you know, before I say this, let's just throw out the email addresses for people who are listening and maybe not watching or whatever. It's Dan@divorceplaybook.com, Scott@divorceplaybook.com. You can follow us on social, Instagram, Facebook. Those are really the only ones. Twitter can go screw, at Divorce Playbook on there. And I would like to hear people's feedback on this, because I know that this has happened to a lot of people. You're in a different age bracket, slightly, but it's important in this case because your kids are 17 and 15. My kids are 13 and 10. My kids are just out of that age bracket where, like, I can trust them here by themselves. They can put themselves to bed. They're 13 and 10. But I have such a limited amount of time with them that I don't ever schedule a date or anything on a day that I have them.
Yeah, same.
And so I have them from Thursday through Monday. Well, Thursday night, I have a little bit of time because they're sleeping at my ex's, but like from Friday after school until Monday, like 5 o'clock, they're mine. Valentine's Day weekend is me and the kids, and I am so excited for it. We're going to go to the record store. We're going to buy some records. We're going to do a lot of cool things, and I'm really excited about it. So I can't go out with this one, but then the logistics fall into it, Scott, where this is now the second time that we will have rescheduled. And my rule of that, when it's somebody who lives a little bit far away and you've rescheduled twice, it's never going to happen. And I do not want that. So now I have to just hold out hope that the thing that always happens doesn't happen.
Look, this is part of the game. I mean, I know I say this so often, but this is part of the game. If you actually make plans and they get canceled twice, sorry, dude, it's a red flag. Like, I know you want to like this person and you want it to work and all this stuff. Yeah. Sometimes things just aren't meant to work. And I think you just need to come to a realization that might be the case.
Okay, so this is what I want to throw out.
If this doesn't work out.
Right. I want to throw this out to other people because this is one of those things. I know that you get a lot of feedback from people, Scott, who are younger than you, and you actually match with people on sites that are younger than you. So by and large, their kids are maybe a little bit younger than yours. Not always, whatever. But so how have you dealt with this? Because I know that this has happened to you recently, where you match with someone, you think that they check all your boxes, or all the flags are checkered, or I don't know what the, and then you realize, like, well, they have kids who are not even double digits yet. And you look at it and you're like, well, now we have babysitter issues. They can't do anything until after 9 o'clock or whatever, because they have to put their kids to bed. There's all these logistics. And that's what I'm dealing with most of the people who I talk with.
Yeah.
It's people who are dealing with similar logistics to me. Now, again, I throw this back, and this is why I'm very respectful of the whole babysitter thing, because Scott, if you said to me, like, I need you to come up here, we need to do some work stuff. Let's just put it that way. I don't know who I could ask. I could ask mom and dad to watch the kids overnight, but mom probably won't because of the COVID stuff. And she's nervous about it until she gets the vaccine. I have no one else. I used to have like 5 people on my ex's side, but I'm not going to go to them and be like, hey, I'm not.
I'm saying I've had nobody else for, you don't live here. Mom doesn't live here. I've had nobody else for 8 years.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. That's why I want to be sympathetic to this woman, because she trusts 1 or 2 people to watch her kids. If that person won't get back to her, she can't just like hide. She's not going to go to Angie's list or whatever because it's COVID.
Dan, I get the scenario. I don't know why you're so fixated on this one person. It seems like you're really into her, which is great. I'm telling you, all I'm saying is forget about the babysitter. If she is in a position where she has made plans with you twice, and I don't care the reason. Well, if she's made plans with you twice,
sick, yes,
dude, stop trying to justify this with yourself. If she's made plans with you twice and they both bail, it probably isn't going to work. That's it. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if people disagree with me, disagree with me. That's cool. I'm telling you from experience that if you have plans with somebody and they get canceled twice, it's usually a red flag.
You're using my thing against me. I know that.
Because you're not listening to yourself.
I'm not. No, here's the thing. I'm not. But here's what I mean by that. And this is where I'm just trying to pull people who are going to write back to us, because I know they're going to write back to us in this direction. So if you haven't already texted me angrily or in my defense, then here's where I want you to go with this, people who are listening, who have young kids. There are different kinds of red flags. There's a red flag where, no, Scott, I'm serious. Don't look at like I'm doing something wrong here. What I'm confused at. The look on your face was very like, oh my God, we're still doing this. There are 2 kinds of red flags. One is a character flaw, and one is a flag based on circumstance. This is a circumstance flag. The character flaw is the story I told last time, where a woman gets all hot and bothered with me, and then I'm going along for the ride, and then she's like, oh, this isn't going to work out. It's going too fast, blah, blah, blah. And she's still like got some weird relationship with her ex. Like that I realize afterwards, red flag. I don't want anything to do with that. This is different. The woman is very available emotionally, very nice, like open and honest. It's like the logistics of it. We live kind of far. So how is a red flag, or are there different shades of red? I'm asking you legitimately, and I want other people to know, because I know there's people out there who are listening to you right now who are like, fuck this guy, because sometimes I can't get a babysitter. And if he's going to really, really like me and then not go out with me again because I couldn't get a sitter one time, then what the hell? That's a red flag on you. You're welcome, ladies.
Dude. This conversation is ridiculous. I'm not saying that the red flag is that you can't get a babysitter. That's not what I'm saying. That could have been, but what I'm saying is yes, I'm bringing it back to you, is that this is the second time. I don't care the circumstances. I'm not knocking a woman who has kids who can't get a babysitter at all. I get it. I'm a dad who can't get a babysitter sometimes. I'm not knocking that at all. If that's the case, that's the case. And you need to digest it, process it, and decide if you want to move forward or not. What I'm saying is this is now the second time. Two incidents create a red flag. Yes, maybe not 2 red flags, 2 incidences of canceling plans for various reasons. Absolutely 100% create a red flag. Argue with me. That's fine.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm asking you. I'm legitimately asking you. And I don't want to throw this to like a sports reference again. We'll call it dancing. How about that? I don't know, Dancing with the Stars, whatever. We'll call it. If you want to take someone out dancing and they sprain their ankle and they can't go dancing, is that their fault? Well, they shouldn't have done the act that sprained their ankle. Or if you just take someone out dancing and they're like, I hate dancing. It sucks. I'm a bad dancer.
It's a terrible
One is
analogy.
an inability and one is a
yeah. So in that case, what I would do is if the person loves dancing so much and hurt themselves, I would still get together with them, and maybe I would dance and she could watch and give me some pointers.
You're the private dancer.
The private dancer.
We just went full circle on Tina Turner.
There we go. Private dancer right here.
Oh my
Happy
God.
fucking Valentine's Day.
I was gonna sing the Tina Turner voice, but I'm a little nervous about
please.
that.
I'm still I'm still.
That's how she does it. She's like,
It sounds exactly like your Michael McDonald voice, though.
That's way lower. That's like, whoa.
Yes. All right. So
can I go back to the original? This is where I want to blow your mind.
Okay.
No. This is legit. This is where I want to blow your mind on this. I'm serious about this. I don't understand you, and I don't understand people like you. And I'm not saying that in like a flippant, like I don't understand. I legitimately, I can't process this. I don't understand what you're saying to me, because in one side of it, you're saying you're texting 30 people, you're matching with 30 people, you're texting 20 people, you're having phone conversations with 8 people, whatever, all this stuff, and you're like, this is too many people. You need to narrow down your field. And then I narrow down my field because clearly I've put a hierarchy together of like, here's 1 or 2 who, if like they're available, everybody else is going to be put to the side for a little bit because I want to pursue that. And then you're telling me, well, it's a red flag. Don't go after that woman. You're telling me to be patient. And then when I'm trying to be patient and respectful of a circumstance, you're like, well, that's a red flag, man. That's not going to work out. You got to move on. I don't understand that. So should I focus on this one person who I really like? Or should I continue to bounce 50 balls off the wall until I catch one or hit one? You know, like
why is it got to be one or the other? Why can't you just
they're
sort of
opposite things?
Middle? They're not opposite things. Get to the middle ground, dude. This is what we're trying to explain to people. You don't have to be at stop. You don't have to be at 100 miles an hour. The speed limit is 55 in the state, dude. Get in the middle. Do both. Totally
65,
right?
Whatever.
Whatever. By the way, that text that you heard on the thing was from Mom. She must be listening to us, knowing that we were like arguing about something.
I didn't hear a text, but thanks for that.
Yeah. So I think you need to process this away where it's like black or white. And I'm telling you, dating and dating apps are gray. It's gray.
No, everything is black and white to me. This is why I told you
I understand. That's what I'm saying to you. I understand, and I'm trying to explain to you. I'm not going to explain to you in this one episode, but all I'm saying is that you're not doing anything wrong. First of all, you're trying out new things that are not necessarily what you've done in the past, and I applaud that. Like, good for you. Your inability to process what is happening is your biggest challenge. Like, you have to figure out that you don't have to juggle 20 or 30 or whatever, bouncing things off the wall. You don't also just have to go to one person and hope that it works out because you deem her in your very few chats and correspondence that she's the leader of the pack. If she is, she is. But if there's a couple things that show you, if there's a couple things that show you that maybe she isn't, then you need to open yourself up a little more, not to 20 or 30, but you could open yourself up to 4 or 5 people, engage in conversations. You're good at having multiple conversations with people to get to know them. There's nothing wrong with getting to know more people.
Okay. Full stop. Give me 1 second, because this is the important thing. If I am willing to match with more people than you, I'm willing to focus my attention a little bit wider until I realize, like, some of the people you text with once or twice, some of the people you text with for weeks. And like, so it all flows into its natural pattern. You learn who likes you and who you have more connection with. I'm just those people that fall by the wayside, you allow them to fall by the wayside. And I just find new people to fit that role because I always like communicating with a lot more people. But I feel like, Scott, what you're saying to me is you could never deal with this many people. And yet you're the one who's looking for something serious, and you're basing on very little information. Well, these are 2 or 3 people that I'm going to focus on for right now. Are you just of the mindset that like those other people are still going to be there in a couple of weeks if these 3 don't pan out? Because I look at it as, why wouldn't I allow every person who has any interest in me an opportunity to meet me, and then we can go from there?
Because you're falling for the gamification of dating apps. That's why.
Dan, I think you are.
Dan, I'm not. I've been in this a long time. I'm telling you that it didn't matter if it was 8 years ago or if it's today. 8 years ago or today. there are still lots of women on the dating apps, lots of great eligible women on the dating apps. I don't need to make sure that every single one I happen to see today, if I was bored, which I'm not, I'm very busy, but if I were bored and I were on a dating app right now and I were just like scrolling around, of course I would look at it and say, oh, I could probably date her based on her picture and the few words she wrote. Oh, I could probably date her based on the pictures and the few words she wrote. I
Okay.
would put together a list like you're doing, and then I would be involved with more, but I don't do it that way. And what I realize is if I can focus, then I can give people the attention that they need and that they deserve. If it works, great. If it doesn't, then I start that process over, because if you're doing it with too many people, you're not full in. And that's and respectfully, for the people that I'm engaged with, they deserve that. They deserve as much of me as they can get to see if it can actually work if you're looking for a long-term relationship, versus me trying to juggle 20 people and talking to you and being like, if you were a woman who was dating, if I was dating a bunch of people, I'd be like, oh wait, so what's up with your youngest son? And she'd be like, oh, I have daughters. And it's like, oh,
but that doesn't happen to me because I'm able to juggle all that. I made one mistake in the last 3 months
but
that
it does
I
happen.
said somebody lived in one town and it was another. Like that's the.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you do that specifically. I'm just saying that I would never do that because I know what's going on. I'm just saying that Dan, I don't think, and you're right. You're looking for something different. So you've switched so quickly over to this other side where it's like you've got your eye focused on this one woman who can't find a babysitter and has another issue.
I went out with somebody last night. I'm going out with somebody next week. I'm like driving like 3 hours to hang out with somebody potentially. Like I'm not saying this is the only person. What I'm saying is, when you go back to the home run analogy of like the 3 or 4 or 5 things that make someone, that person moves to the front of the line 100%. They don't need to know that there's a line at all because they're first. The other people, you're right, they don't need to know there's a line at all. But for you to say that I am not giving that first person enough of myself, it's not. I am 100% giving that person enough of myself. I'm willing to put everything on hold if that opportunity arrives. You're looking at it as a percentage of your time for matching with people. If you have 24 hours in a day, right? That's how many hours are in a day, I think still.
Correct, sir.
I think. If you have 24 hours in the day and you want to use, let's just say, for example, and this might not be you, but let's just say for somebody out there, 2 hours at night, you're watching TV, you're doing other things, you're multitasking, you're relaxing, you're going through the apps, texting people back, making plans, looking for other people on the app. Let's say you have 2 hours a day where that's what you do. You're looking at it as a percentage. Well, I'm going to spend one of those hours on a FaceTime call with someone. That's 50% of my time. And so you're saying I use 50% of my time on one person and the other 50% on 2 or 3 others, and that's all I can handle. I look at it as, well, if I can spend 4 hours a day because I don't sleep as much as you, or I am doing other things more quickly or whatever. Now, Scott, I'm only using 25% of my time, but it's the same amount of actual time. I don't go by percentage of time. I go by total time. And so I feel like I am giving a lot of people more time. If you and I match with somebody, I guarantee you I would give them more time of mine than you would. And yet I still have 20 other people I'm texting with and you have 2.
I don't know how this has become you trying to give me a lesson in dating and dating apps.
I'm confused because you keep saying I need to focus on one person or less people, and then I do, and you're like, well, you can't just put all your eggs in one basket. It's my brain wants to explode.
I think everyone listening's brain wants to explode. I don't think that I said exactly what you just said back to me.
I'm just imagining like everyone just listening in the earbuds and just brains everywhere.
I mean, I'm going to apologize to the audience if this is as frustrating for them as it is to me. Let's just we're not going to resolve this. So let me just state this final and let's like kind of get moving. So what I am saying simply, and please listen, Dan, you are looking at this in black and white. I am telling you that it is very gray. You have a tendency to swing to one side or the other. And I'm telling you, you need to figure out a way to be in the middle. That's it. I'm not talking about me. I'm not talking about how I do things. All I'm saying is that find your way back to the middle.
Now we're doing yes songs.
Do a little bit of what you're.
You got to just power through it. I talk. Let's go. Just say your point.
Do a little bit of what you're doing now and do a little bit of what you're doing and figure out where your best rhythm is. I'm not saying you're not paying attention to people. I'm not saying any of that stuff. I'm just saying that you got to find your place at this point in time in the dating world. And I think that is highly relevant to this weekend. I think it's highly relevant to Valentine's Day thinking. And just to go back on one thing and to give credit, and I'll say this because I feel this way, is I think what you're doing, if you went black and white, and I know you mentioned this about, exes, and I've talked about this where I prefer in many respects that my ex has been with one person, because I can't imagine what it must be like to be the ex of someone like you.
What does that mean?
It's you go out with a ton of people. I honestly, if I were sitting outside of the zone of what we're in right now, and I were looking at this, I would point to the person who's just dating one person, and maybe it's getting a little more serious, and that's just the way that life goes, and that's kind of what, again, ultimately I'm looking for, so I can relate to that maybe a little bit more. I think if you're gonna judge, I'm not saying you are, but if you were going to judge what's happening, okay. If you're going to judge what's happening, I think I won't say yours.
Say it. Just say it. Don't sugarcoat me. Just say it.
No, it's fine. I think what our exes are doing is probably, and I don't put myself in the same bucket as you, but what our exes are doing is probably a lot better and easier to deal with than what you're doing.
All right. And that's where we were going with this anyway. So I appreciate that. Was a text from you or something, right? Was that my thing that just buzzed through my ears? Did you hear that?
I didn't get a text.
Maybe mom's texting me because you won't respond and she's worried about you.
She's worried about Jack. She's not worried about me.
Oh, all right. Well, then she can text Jack. So one thing on the black and white, and then I want to talk about this because this is kind of where we were going, the whole serial dater versus long-term relationships. So I appreciate you spinning that back to me. Is actually the school district calling. So there you go. It's probably about lunches. I look at myself and yes, I have struggled for a very long time. One of the cognitive distortions that I have, and I've worked very long with all this, to drop some CBT on you, is black and white thinking. To me, everything is black and white. Somebody asked me recently, what color is the furniture in your bedroom? And I said, it's gray. Bedspread's gray. Everything's gray. And somebody's like, well, that's boring. I said, no, it's not. It's because when I moved here a year ago, everything was black and white. It was the end of the world or the beginning of the world. It was the best thing ever or the worst thing ever. And so I bought gray furniture and I bought gray bedding and stuff because I needed to remind myself every day when I wake up and every day when I go to bed that the world has gray, that gray exists. And that was the way I could do it. I open my eyes and I remember, I have to, because it's there in front of me, the color gray exists. Having said that, based on what you're telling me, maybe I'm not fully on board with gray existing. I think what's happening is I have black and I have white, and they're going like this really, really fast, which creates gray. What you're saying is like the gray exists. And what I'm saying is if you spin black and white fast enough, it'll look gray.
So right. So I'm saying probably what's not happening in your mind at this point. I'm saying you need to try and get to a place like that. And whether you talk to your therapist about it or we continue to talk about it, you need to understand if you're going to be in this world of dating, you need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, and uncomfortable for you is true gray, not black and white spinning really fast.
And maybe I don't understand the difference, and I appreciate people's feedback because I'm sure that that by this point in the show, there are certain people who are definitely going to give us feedback on this, on both sides, and you know who you are out there, so I thank you in advance. Let's go back to the whole idea of the whole serial dater versus long-term relationship thing. I don't know any different. You don't know any different, so you don't know what it's like to have your ex-wife, maybe an ex like you dated, but like your actual ex who you've divorced with, who you've children with, to go out and be a serial dater. You don't know what that feeling's like. So you're assuming that feeling would be worse than what you did go through, which is your ex finding someone else and then being with that other person and not you. I don't know any different otherwise. And I know there are other people out there who do know that. So I'd love to hear their perspective on this, because to me,
I know what their perspective is going to be.
Well, Scott, to me, my ex finding someone so quickly after we got divorced that she can have a potential or long-term relationship with, that she can find that connection with, like on the first try. I was that easy to replace. Like, but for me, Scott, and I understand you're saying, no, I understand you're saying I'm going on a lot of dates. There's a lot of people. I'm not bringing anyone home to visit meet the kids. There are people who I'm friends with. There are people, I like to go out. I like to meet people. I don't understand how I have yet to find someone who comes even close to the emotional connection I had with her. How that's worse than her finding one on like the first swing. How is that work? How is what I'm going through?
Dude, you're gonna hate my answer.
I would like to hate your answer because I want it to be a true answer. And if I hate it, I hate it.
You're gonna hate it.
Just say it.
It's not that she's gone out and on the first try. You're looking at it again in a black and white manner. It's on the first try she's found somebody that she wants to date long term. That's not actually what's happened, I would imagine. I don't know, but I'm assuming that, contrary to you, when you were dealing with a lot of issues towards the end of your marriage, that you needed to figure yourself out afterwards, she didn't. So once the marriage was over, she was ready. She was in a better place to date than you were. I don't think it is.
I think, knowing the circumstances on my end, I think that's bullshit.
Okay, I don't think it is. So I see. I just said
okay.
Said
hold
before
on.
this that you're not going to like this.
This is fun. I like this episode. This is really interesting. I love this. Let me throw this back at you. You said several episodes ago, and if I could call it up with a Jim from the Office GIF or whatever, I would do it. That you are very reluctant, and you need to learn your lesson because you don't want to date someone who has been divorced less than a couple of years. You don't want someone in my situation, right? That's what you said.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So let's just continue this analogy with my ex, although obviously you're not going to date my ex. That'll be a fucking weird ass thing. But let's just say, because it's never going to happen, that right after we got divorced, that she had already processed this whole thing for the year before when she realized that she wanted me gone. And then by the time I was gone, she had fully processed it. She's ready to go. She knows what she wants. Would you not date her then? If day one after divorce, she knows what she wants and it's not
Dan,
me.
No.
This so then is what she's not ready. She's still got to process all that shit.
No, wrong. Wow. Wrong. I'm telling you that I am at a different stage than other people, even your ex, like in terms of my longevity. I'm not. And so at this point in time, if somebody says I'm separated or I've been divorced a year, or whatever it is, I'm kind of like, and it's a general statement. Like, it's just the way that this is my experience, that I'm like, that's not for me. I need somebody who's been out here a little bit longer, has built their life, has figured things out, whatever it may be. Me 6 years ago, yeah, I probably would have gone out with her. And I was still looking for a long-term relationship at that point. I just now know that the people that I've dated that didn't turn into long-term relationships, I know the red flags, and I am even more careful as when I move forward with it. But yeah, I actually probably would have, if I saw her and she was a year out or whatever, divorced at least, not saying how long it was, I probably would have gone on a date with her. Yeah.
All right. I want to pull this. And again, I just want to be very clear on this before any papers end up in my inbox or anything. I just want to be very clear about this. This is not, there's no specifics about my situation. It's a speculation based on information that I have. And so I'm using my situation as sort of like the example on the test and not the actual test. People out there, I would love to know, Dan at divorceplaybook.com and Scott at divorceplaybook.com. And again, on all our social channels at Divorced Playbook is the new handle. I would love to know what other people think, because I do know, and I've spoken to a lot of people who have dealt with their ex sleeping around on them before they get divorced or after they get, or being with and I want to know what that feels like. And I don't want you to like have to rehash and go back and like, I'm asking for people to like dig up pain when you're single on Valentine's week. That's not what you process your own pain at your own pleasure. But
case.
yeah. And so I'm not asking for people to dredge up that, excuse me. I just want to know who's right on, like, and it's not about right and wrong. It's not about black and white with the two of us, but I just want to, like, I don't know. Like, I look at my situation, and all I can do is look at my situation as there's a deep emotional connection that is happening where I used to have one. And that's an uncomfortable feeling for me. You're saying,
gotcha,
like, a physical relationship with a number of people is worse. To me, that's nothing. That's mindless. It doesn't matter. And I want to get other people's perspective, because I want, especially somebody who's gone through that side of it. Is it worse, or would you have rather? Would you have rather your? Go ahead. I'm done.
Okay. I'm thinking that ultimately over time it's worse. So there you have it.
I already got your opinion. I'm asking the people out there listening, because you only have one perspective on this.
I don't have one perspective on it. I've been out here for 8 years. I hear hundreds and thousands of perspectives. Like, I'm not just saying about myself. My own situation, like you said, is unique to me, but I've talked to a lot of people about it, and I'm certainly not in the minority in this kind of thinking. If people disagree, they disagree. Good. Disagree with me. That's cool. You clearly do.
You know what's going to be really interesting about this? And again, if for people out there, and I just want to say this, be very clear. One, as I said, if you're going to, we'll say this at the end of the show, as we did at the beginning. If you want to give me a birthday present, divorceplaybook.com/dating. I will say this, Scott, you're probably not going to love this, but I'm happy to do it. If you, no. If you go through the process and download this ebook that we put together and watch the videos and stuff, and our work does not help your ability to find matches, enhance your dating profile, I will personally just give you your money back. I'll personally just be like, here you go. You got to give me like a month or two. But if we can't help you, so what I'm saying to that is, the people who are listening who are like, you know what, I don't need help, my profile is fine. No, it's not. Because as we went through this process, as we talked to the other people that we're working with, as we went through all of the research and looked at thousands of dating profiles, I've changed mine 5 times. I've realized that I wasn't doing what I thought. So I'm guaranteeing people their money back if they don't. Can I do that?
No, because it's not your money; it's mine. But in any case,
no, I'll pay out of my pocket. I'll just take the loss.
Let's just put it this way: this thing that we've created, and let's sort of like close it out on this. Like,
that's what I was
this
doing.
Thing that we've created will absolutely get you more or better matches. Absolutely. We could stamp it guaranteed. We've done it ourselves. Lots of people have done this. It's a proven method to get you more and or higher quality matches. Right. More or higher quality matches. And or what we're talking about now is not about the fact that we can't get matches and get good matches. We're not talking about that on the podcast. What we're saying is, we have tons of matches. I go about it one way, you go about it a different way. That's step 2. Like, we're talking about step 2 and all this stuff.
I know.
I'm just saying, I understand. So for your birthday, people that are going here and downloading everything, I would all but guarantee you are not going to want your money back, because
that's
this
what I'm
will
doing.
Work for you. You did that in a really weird way.
I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is. I'm like, Ben Stein.
But it's not your money.
No, I'm saying I'll just like pay them. I'll Venmo them just my own money. I'll just take the loss, because I'm guaranteeing that it'll help.
Okay. I honestly hope that just for shits and grins, that like 10,000 people download this and they all Venmo you, or they'll ask for they'll ask, just because you just said it, they all ask for their money back, even though their profiles are gonna be way better and they're gonna be way happier and all this other stuff, just to mess with you, that you get like 10,000 requests via Venmo for $17.
Okay, was that 17? That's $170,000. I will find that money and I will refund everyone that money. I'm serious. If we get 10,000 people who download this and then want their money back legitimately. You have to show me why you think, show me your matches, blah, blah. They're going to have to prove it to me. You can't just be like, I didn't like it. You're not eating half a sandwich and be like, this tastes gross. You ate half of it. All right, well, I don't like it now. No, this is a one bite and you're out. I'll pay 170. If we get 10,000 people who are unsatisfied, I will find $170,000 somewhere. I'll find it somewhere. Okay. In one of my dating profiles, I say that I'm looking for my partner in crime for a bank job next Wednesday. I might actually need that bank job. I might need a safecracker for a bank job on Wednesday if I need to pay back 170 grand. Hey, so your kid had a good basketball game yesterday. Do you want to talk about that?
So speaking of, so this is a good way to give a shout out towards the end here, and knowing that mom was texting me and she was checking on Jack. Jack, you obviously know how I feel about my kids. They're both awesome in their own ways. Jack in particular last night had a monster game. He got hurt, as you know, because you're streaming it too.
Yeah.
Lots of people can stream these games now. We can't be there in person, but we can stream it. I will say one thing that is really tough in this world right now is watching your child on TV get hurt and not be able to be there for him.
Yeah.
That was actually the most agonizing hour of my life last night when we all watched it. He clearly got hurt. He got very hurt. He can't bend his knee at this point. Yet somehow, and then he also got a bloody nose in the middle of the game too, which was what happened when he was on the sideline again. So he was taken out of the game twice, missed probably half the game against one of the top schools in the state, a private high school.
They recruit kids. Is basically what you're saying. The kids
correct.
Are going in the NBA.
The kids are going to D1
Duke and
schools. Yeah. He not only got hurt twice and was out of the game for half the game, he ended up scoring 21 points, was the high score of the game, and they literally had to carry him off the court in the last couple minutes because he couldn't even stand on his leg anymore. So
21 points. And by the way, I will say this, and I'm going to text him this afterwards. That wasn't even the best thing that he did. He was playing deep. He had a block and a steal on consecutive plays. These kids are bigger, stronger, and taller than him, and he's a huge kid, but he's thin. I was very impressed. So if he is listening to this, because I know he only listens when we talk about him, it was really special to see him do that.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was a proud papa moment for sure. And the fact that he played so well offensively and defensively and toughed it out through a couple of, tough injuries. I mean, the nosebleed, he got back on that pretty fast, but his knee is not good right now. I hope he can continue to play this week. It was heartbreaking in some respects to, again, not be there for him, but to watch him tough it out, it gave me a lot of confidence for him in his future. So I think as a dad, that was a big moment. It was a big moment for him too, to know that he can tough it out. Big moment for me. So as I always say in the stuff we're doing, us brothers will not always agree on different things, and looking forward to people's responses, but never forget, through dating and whatever it might be, we both have our kids this Valentine's Day. So
yep.
We're happy about that. And I'll leave it on kids first.